I can't believe I made this with a tablecloth from Norway. Ah! Hey y'all, how's it going? I disappeared for the entire month of May and I am so sorry for that, but I think I had a pretty good reason. I was traveling to Scandinavia with some of my best friends in May and it was freaking amazing. We flew into Paris and then we went to Norway and ended our trip in Copenhagen. Holy shit, you guys. Did you know that the Danish people really know how to freaking dress? Like, it sent me into a bit of a spiral. I was like, why do I look so frumpy here? These like tall, beautiful blonde Danish people just like, were out here rocking their streetwear. And I was like, I need to come back and just like purge my entire wardrobe, start from scratch. I have no idea what I'm doing, clearly. Anyways, that's not very sustainable, so I did not do that. What I did do instead is when we were in Norway, specifically in Bergen, which is this beautiful little town in the fjords, we visited a thrift store and I thrifted this beautiful vintage embroidered tablecloth. And I decided that I'm going to turn it into a Ganni-inspired top. Now, I've seen a lot of people make these types of tops from tablecloths on Instagram, and I just kind of decided they're so flipping cute. I kind of want one. So that's what I'm going to sew today. And I think it's just going to be a wonderful little memento of this trip. And I'm going to get to wear it all the time and just savor all of the memories from this really, really special trip that we did. All right, let's get started. Hello, it's like 7 a.m. I got up less than an hour ago. I just got back from a trip to Scandinavia, so I am still really jet lagged. For the last like 6 months maybe, I've been trying to find something like this. I have had no luck in thrift shops here in America. I don't know why. Anyways, went to this thrift shop in Norway, immediately found this and fell in love. Look at how beautiful this is. Like, look at the floral details, the like baby blue bias binding. I don't know if you guys can see that. Today I'm going to turn this beautiful tablecloth into a beautiful shirt. I'm trying to just show you guys. I'm gonna start by ironing this a little bit just to get out some of the wrinkles. I'm assuming this tablecloth is cotton. I actually put this tablecloth in some OxyClean just because there were actually a couple stains on it, but the OxyClean did a pretty good job of lifting that out for the most part. And then I washed it, so we're hygienic girlies here. I had to make some design decisions because I'm actually changing the shape of the front panel a little bit because I want to add a peplum to this. The original pattern doesn't have a peplum. I'm actually going to be taking off like 3 centimeters from the bottom just to shorten the bodice a little bit. And then I also don't want such a deep V-neck, so I am kind of like self-drafting the neckline so that I'm just like bringing it up a little bit higher. But yeah, hopefully this works out. Fingers crossed. Pretty happy with how this came out. The back piece, pretty nice. So some of the staining is still a little bit apparent on the back piece. I might try washing just this piece again before I start sewing. I can't really start this project today because I actually don't have all the materials. I don't have matching thread. I want to get some of this like baby blue bias tape. I'm going to be using bias tape to enclose all the raw edges, but pieces are looking pretty good. So here's what I've cut out so far. I think it's looking really cute. I'm not gonna do the peplum right now because it is approaching like 9 a.m. and I have a big girl job, so I kind of gotta go do that. But yeah, I am really happy with how it's looking so far. I don't know when I'll get to cutting up the peplum. Hey guys, it's a new day. Today I'm going to put together the bodice pieces, and I'm gonna put together the bodice first before I cut out any of the peplum pieces because I basically want to see how the bodice actually lays on my body, so that way I can kind of decide like how wide or tall to make the peplum strips, if that makes sense. I think that I'll be able to put together the bodice pretty quickly because I am kind of using a pattern that I've worked with before. Also, there's no like facing to sew in because I'm going to be doing like a bias binding around all the raw edges. We have a barbecue that we're going to this afternoon. I'm going to see if I can get this done before we head out to that. That might be a little bit ambitious, but I feel like I can get it done. I'm pressing some seams, which I hate doing, but it makes a really big difference. So press your seams. You guys, look at how freaking cute it's looking already. Oh my god. I'm obsessed. I am actually so delighted with how it's looking already. Like it's so cute. I think this might be the cutest thing I've ever made, and it's not even done yet. Okay, so tomorrow I am going to cut out the bodice strips and hopefully also tackle the bias binding. I don't work with bias tape that often, so I'm hoping that it'll go smoothly. I was so excited to sew that I forgot to eat anything. Now it's noon and I'm eating breakfast. Oopsies. Look at this beautiful bread that Robin made. Bread ASMR.
She's not that pretty.
She's gorgeous. Okay, y'all, this is Emily from the editing room. I made a really silly mistake where I accidentally pressed the wrong setting on my camera. Basically, all of the footage that I took of cutting out the peplum and putting it together, I filmed in slow motion and without sound. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up those clips and then voice over what I did. The challenge that I had with the peplum was that the tablecloth that I thrifted was a circle, so it made it a little bit less straightforward knowing how to actually cut out strips for the peplum piece. What I ended up doing was I kind of cut out like rectangles, but maintaining the original hem, so they're kind of like rectangles but with a curve to it, just so that way I could salvage the original like blue bias strip that was used. Then I took the rectangles and overlocked the edges and stitched them together to create one long peplum strip. You'll see. Let's roll the footage. I cut a rectangle that was about 7 inches in width and as many inches as I could squeeze out of the circle in length for the back panel. And I started with this piece because I wanted to pattern match the embroidery with the bodice. I basically did the same for the other peplum pieces where I cut out like a rectangle-ish shape that was 7 inches and as many inches as I could squeeze out in length. I don't really remember how long I made any of the pieces, unfortunately. So this is what all of the peplum pieces look like. I managed to squeeze out about 5 from my tablecloth. And I also ended up having to cut out these little insert pieces so that there would be enough length to actually gather and have some ruffles. What I'm gonna do now is I will overlock the raw edges, but not the top because that's gonna be gathered. And then I'll sew together the edges to create the peplum strip. And then I'll gather the entire strip. Here I am, overlocking. Now I'm attaching each little peplum piece to each other. Ooh, it's starting to look like a long strip of fabric. I gathered the strip and now I'm attaching the gathered peplum to the bodice of the shirt. Hey friends, all right, we are in the home stretch of this project. I have added the bias trim to the neckline. She's looking good. This is the ribbon that I picked up for the ribbon ties. Isn't that a beautiful, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful baby blue color. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 3 ties to each side of the front panels and then just cover it up with bias trim. Sounds pretty simple. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long. That might be wishful thinking. I don't know why I'm standing up. I'm just really excited to get this project done. So I think what I will do is I will kind of like baste the ribbons onto each side panel and then I'll go over it with the bias tape. That makes sense, right? I've also kind of eyeballed the placement. I don't know. Maybe I should measure it. Okay, I'm just measuring out the amount of bias tape that I'll need. A little bit extra just to be safe. Now that I've attached the bias tape, I'm going to just fold over the ribbon and sew. Kind of like this. So it's just like the ribbon is going to face towards each other. You guys, I finished the top. I don't want to say she's perfect because nothing is ever perfect. There's maybe some small things I could have done a little bit better, but look at that. She's beautiful. She turned out so well. I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna style her and then yeah, I guess I'll kind of just show you the final product. This top is so special. I can't believe I made this with a tablecloth from Norway. Ah! All right, the top is done. I'm super happy with how it came out. I think she is just stinking adorable and I can't wait to wear her. I'm really happy with how the peplum came out because that was kind of a puzzle figuring out how to put that together. I think it's just kind of like an art piece on her own. That being said, I will spill the tea and give you my honest thoughts on this project and some of the choices that I made in terms of trade-offs between function versus design. So the first thing that I'm gonna say is this general style of top is maybe not the most practical. The first thing is I kind of struggle with knowing what type of bra to wear underneath. I know some people are okay with just going au naturel, no bra. Personally, I hate that. I find it really uncomfortable. So I do like to wear a bra. What I do instead is I have this kind of like really tight like white camisole and I sort of just like layer that underneath. It works. It's kind of like -1 cute point in my opinion, but you know, anything to keep the girly supported. The other thing too is like, because there's only like 3 ties holding this top together, it's very airy. So in a city like San Francisco, that can be a little chilly and a little windy. Sometimes when I wear tops like this, I do actually get really cold. So sometimes this top, not always like the most practical item in my wardrobe necessarily. The other design decision that I want to talk about is using actual ribbons for the ties. Using actual ribbons is maybe not the most durable material because they are a little bit prone to fraying over time. I think that if you want to make this type of top yourself and you want something that is like really, really durable, really going to hold up well over time, I would consider making your ties out of fabric. That's kind of what these tops are usually, you know, like these sort of tie tops, the ties are usually made out of fabric. It's just like more robust. It'll hold up better over time. I think for me, I'm kind of okay with making that trade-off. Like these ribbons are so stinking cute. I'm okay with this trade-off because like, A, I work from home, so I'm not really gonna be wearing this top out for like really long periods of time. B, I'm like pretty committed to like taking good care of my clothes as much as possible. Like I wash everything on delicate. I try really hard to not put my clothes through the washer too frequently. I air dry everything that I make. And lastly, like because I did make this top, if I do have to repair it, it's not the end of the world. I know how to repair it. I can like always swap out the ribbon ties. You know, there's options to like mend this if I need to. The only other thing I'll say is for the peplum, I do wish that I could have salvaged a little bit more fabric for the oh my God, so hard to say. I do wish that I could have salvaged a little bit more fabric just to make it more like poofy, a little bit more gathered. As you can see, it's not like super gathered. It's because like this tablecloth wasn't that big. It was also like a circle. So it was kind of hard just like getting enough fabric out of it to even make the peplum. I'm still like happy with how it looks, but in an ideal world, I think it could have been cute just to have like a little bit more gathering. Overall, I'm still really happy with how this turned out. I can't wait to wear it. I think that hacking the puff and pencil tie blouse was really easy if you want to do that. I know that Sydney Graham also has a pattern that is pretty much exactly this shirt, so you can always use that. And honestly, if you have the time, I don't think this top is that hard to self-draft, so that's always an option. If you made it this far into the video, please consider dropping a comment. Let me know, like, have you gone on a trip recently that was really special? Have you like thrifted something that's like really cool? I want to hear about it. Maybe consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. All right. Peace and love, friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.